I am known as Miss June. Roots. When you asked us about our roots, the first thing in my mind was my hair. Instantly, the smell of heat and grease came to mind. Roots conjured up images of a child's straw-bottom chair and family voices. When I was young, my hair was long and my mother washed it every Saturday to get ready for Sunday and the school week to come. In some strange adult way, this was entertainment for my daddy. He would come into the kitchen and tease me. It hurt to have my mother comb out my hair. "Sit still," Mama yelled. "Hold your ear so I don't burn it." All this and daddy's teasing made me cry harder. He didn't have to go through this girl torture. "Stop," I screamed. That only led my grandmother to chime in. "Make sure you get deep down to her roots. Make sure those roots are good and straight." Years later, Black Pride, Dr. King, power signs, and our roots personified by the Afro. Unfortunately, the Afro was not meant for me. The Afro became another symbol of my roots awakening. The Afro was proud, like the Black South power sign. It stood high, which was more than I could say for my hair. It just curled up or fell back down to my shoulders. On a good day, I could manage to look like an electrocuted porcupine. Of course, well-meaning elders, "You can't do that. You got good hair." Many years later, I was in college away from my mother's hot combs, so I decided to have a relaxer put in my hair. Against wise counsel, I went to a beauty parlor and got myself a relaxer. After all, I was paying for this with my own money. And it was with more of my money that I had to pay a doctor to tell me why my hair fell out. My roots landed me at the white beauty shop. In her deep Southern accent, the hairdresser asked carefully, "Baby, who your people? Who your folks?" At first, I didn't answer, or better yet, I suddenly developed that great American disease, denial. She made a shield with her body against the other patrons and held my face in her hands. As discreetly and as compassionately as she could, she asked, "Baby, how much white people in you?" All I could do was laugh. I replied, according to my great-great-aunts, our family didn't turn black until 1952. She mellowed and continued to treat my scalp and leftover hair. All the while, she kept talking about how I couldn't do my hair like other black girls, and it ain't how light the skin is that always tells the mixture, it's other things, and so on and so forth. Her account of black and white mixing and back in the day when people were passing faded into another awakening. It turned into my grandfather, who looked like an old version of Sean Connery, and my grandmother's dark skin. My granddaddy's pain of being neither here nor there. His pain of knowing his white cousins lived just across the street, and it couldn't be acknowledged until death tornadoed into his painful discovery about his brother being taken from him because he had dark skin. My grandmother's constant battle with self-image because she came from slaves and field hands and dark skin and coarse hair. My grandmother's every moment trying to prove she was just as good as the more educated, light-skinned, upper class relatives on my grandfather's side of the family. My grandmother's self-hatred turned into poison. Watching a once loving woman become evil and bitter because she looked more like Hattie McDaniel than Halle Berry. Watching this hate break my granddaddy's heart, knowing there was nothing he could do to change the world. All that gave me pain. Roots. How dare you ask me about my roots? Is this your idea of some cruel and twisted joke? You know about my roots. You took them from me. Just like that hot comb, your heated disdain and hatred for us burned and destroyed my roots, my soul, my light, and my compass. You took all that from me. The extinguishing was the reason my aunts and my mothers tried to hide me, because we were witches and healers like our ancestors. Just like the torture of straightening my hair was to make me more comfortable to white people. Straightened out or white out my roots. You took our art, music, even our religion away from us. And if that wasn't enslaving enough, you lied about Egypt, the Bible, classical music, even art. We were all there. From the very beginning, we were there. You took my soul. You took our souls, and then you want to know why we act the way we do? What did you expect? We were going to all become black Ken and Barbie dolls? And integration, the same lie you told the Native Americans and the Aborigines. You didn't want to integrate. You wanted to annihilate. But it didn't take. It can't take. And so here we are, all living in a cauldron of lies and curses. You stripped us of everything that made us human. Our healers, our teachers, our witches, our religions, and our earth. And you wonder why we're all living in a wasteland of broken promises and brainless autocrats. But the joke is on you. Look at your own children killing themselves to achieve an unnatural standard of beauty, life, and success, all the while killing your own with a religion filled full of hate and bigotry. Deciding who can love and who is worthy to pursue happiness. No, the joke is on you, because now your children are living we are all lost in addictions, medications, gentrification, and unjust affiliations, with no hope of being human or humane. Again, we are all now living in this, it's getting kind of hot down here, isn't it? You see, I'm not the only one whose roots have been straightened. I am the old, we used to call her witch, wise woman. I am that mother, and I have no children, but I will always mother. In my house, I live in the women's building. And sometimes we've had discussions when I'm going, oh God, they're saying stuff that makes no sense. But every last one of them knows when that door is open, the love they're going to get. When I was in a nursing home, the nurses, the aides, and I took that for granted as a child. You know, there's a thing the old people say, you're running from God. And I did, because I wanted to be what we call normal. And there is a norm. I mean, nobody really wakes up going, let me tell you, Bonnie, I dreamed your grandmother told me this, so and so and so and so. But just like I talk about nature a lot, we need the oak trees. We need those people who sit on the porches and say, come here, baby. I don't know you, but see, even in my size, everything about me is built to put some of that nastiness out of you onto me. But you guys, I have to thank you so much, because There's a song, now I didn't write this, but I wish I had. It's Babby Mason said, I saw a bruised and battered woman, her 2 hungry children on the street. And I heard in that small voice, what have you done for the least of these? And I prayed that prayer, Lord, consume me like a burning fire. Melt away my complacency. Let me be moved with love and compassion so someone will find the way in me. Show me how to love. When I look in the mirror, and I always talk about the scariest thing in a closet is a mirror, is because I want to see less of me and more of the Christ that I love. I want to see less of me and more of every child I have touched, and know that there is on earth as there is in heaven. That we are not supposed to go, I gotta die before, old slavery songs, I can't get peace until I die. No, my God. This is our choice. We get to choose whether this is heaven or hell. And that I learned, Tender Mercies was like God said, see my people. See my people. And some of the staff, Bob Singfield was one. He said, you're here because God called you to us. And if your legs, your health, and what happened to you has to get you there, so be it. But I had, just like you said in academics, I was a professional student. I did not, because I knew what the world was. And I didn't want to come out, but God said, no, it's time. It's time. And just like now, it's time. Because they're Peasley's mission statement, but mine is always going to be, every child is Christ. And if we actually thought, and I don't mean just Jesus, it could be Buddha, it could be King, it could be Mother Teresa, but if we actually raised and saw every child in that light, we would stop paying lip service to how we educate them, parent them, and every human being would know whatever I do, and I've told you this before, I am what they see. We're all a role model to any next generation. And I don't want to leave to my next journey without getting the chance to say, I love you because you are perfect, even in your imperfections. You are already perfect. So it's like, well done. Well done, all of you. Well done. Now, where's my cake? see you like I see you, already perfect. In our imperfections, we're already perfect. I can't walk, I can't do this, but on my birthday, Jenna comes and she sits with me. Where I can't walk, the wings that I need, I get from all of you. If I was meant to be perfect, then I would destroy the fact that you need to show your humanness by serving. We all need to serve. And that's the greatest and the only way to say we are worthy to be on this planet. See, that's the thing about service. You cannot serve people as you want to serve them. They must be served according to what they need. And the only way they can do that is there must be a voice that is recognized and honored from the people. And they also have to see you. All I can say about that, my activism, has something to do with more so with my ancestors. And I mean all my ancestors, because my ancestors come from Irish to you name it.
Yeah.
And it also has to do with the children that I literally sacrificed my career and everything for, even my health, because I pray every morning, no more dead babies, not just the physical death, but the minds, the bodies, and the spirits. When I do right, all those children are in my head somehow. All of that, and it's not just the past and present. It's like you said, it is the future. Oh no, you think I'm feisty. My grandmother, I remember her sitting on a porch, rocking, and this is before I was in grade school. And this young white man came up, still closer to early 20s. And he came up, and our house is way up high, off the road. And he yelled at my grandmother or something. Then he said, I can't remember what he said, but after she didn't answer him, I guess the way in the time he wanted, he called her a nigger. I said, oh my God. I wrote about that. I got to tell you, when I wrote about that, it was like, I said, the bees just stopped. It's a hot summer day, but the flies were all, everything stopped going, we're going to get lynched today, honey. We're going to get lynched today. And my grandmother went in after he called her that. My grandmother went inside the door because we had just washed the front porch and got a broom, and she beat the crap out of that boy. She beat him. She beat that boy down. And he said, I'm going to get the sheriff. She said, well, you go ahead, because I beat him when he was a kid. And he went down there. Of course, he got the sheriff. The sheriff, because the town knew my grandmother. And the sheriff got up on the step, and he just, it's like he's saying, not this one. Any other Black person, not this one. And she's sat in her rocker, but of course, she knew she had to change clothes. Now, respectable Southern belle does not go to town or even jail unless she's got her girdle and her wig on. Now, baby, you know this, okay? So she went and changed her clothes, and she got in the rocking chair, and she said, sing, sister, sing me a hymn, sing me something. And I'm just singing, still going, I'm going to die today. Hell, we're both going to die today. And like I said, the sheriff comes up, and he said, Gladys, she said, wait a minute, let me explain something to you, Sheriff. That little boy, I know that little boy. That little boy, I pulled him out of his mama. She was what they call a bootleg midwife. I pulled her out of his mama. And with my own breath, I breathed life into him. because he was a blue baby. I
Right.
breathed life into him. And not all children that I hold to my titties, they don't disrespect me, and I know he ain't. Do you understand me? And he
Yeah.
said, yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. And he said, apologize. The sheriff said, apologize to Miss Glass. When you live in an environment where most of the people in your family are in, their neighbors, they never said social justice. They never said civil rights. I got that when I got up here. You know,
Right.
it
Right.
was what you did as a neighbor. It began with me being a preacher's daughter. And maybe if there is any point to why what I'm writing is
Hmm.
because at 9 years old, I remember driving down the Tuskegee, the longest drive we'd ever had, and
Uh-huh.
my mama telling me my dad was dead. They cut him
Huh.
in two, man, because he fought for civil rights. Most of the people that I went to services, they didn't have services for me because I didn't fit a lot of things, even at the free store. And a lot of people were very nasty to me.
Yeah.
It was like I said, the staff, the CEO, and people at Tender Mercies, Bethany House. It was when I was in the hospital recently. It's Jen and the ladies there who said, Miss June, we'll make sure you got food. Larry goes and gets my groceries. This happened. It that you're right. It is just being neighbors. That's all it is. And we somehow made it so complicated. You know, grown people can screw up a bond raising.